Okay, good afternoon. What I'm going to do is just quickly go back over some of the performance aspects I've been finding with this ARC tuned Remington Express, which is known as or what I call the Remington Express AR1. Now I've had this about 2 months now. I haven't had it out as much as I would have liked, mainly because of the terrible weather we've been having. To be honest, doesn't work well for the old air rifles. As you can see in the top left there is some targets I'm going to go through. Um, so I'll quickly just get some stuff out of the way that's changed slightly. Well, the plate's gone. You can see on the breech block the ARC tuning plate's gone, and then the silencer I've got them stick-on shotgun things. Now I did have the open sights working on this quite well, and I decided to shorten the open sight when I put this longest AGS scope on it, and I shortened them off so that the elevation screw actually went in here as opposed to there, so the whole thing was shoved along, chopped and nicely rounded. But when I cocked the rifle, you can see the damage just to the wooden furniture there. It's made a bit of a mess, so yeah, ultimately that little True Glow stick-on part is going to end up coming off. I've got a nice piece of 1mm thick carbon fibre that's going to go and make a nice little thing on there. Scope mount is still a BKL, for my own personal reasons. And blinged up, as you can see in the SS, stainless steel rather than the German officers. I've gone with an AGS scope now, mainly because I know this scope to be very good. Yeah, as you can see there, so it's got an illuminated reticle on it. The side wheel focus. I mean, I've had this scope for a while now, to be honest with you, a good half a year. It's never failed me, but it's been sitting on the Bunny Basher S410 that I've got. And the reason I've took this off is because the Hawk won't sit on a springer. It doesn't like being on the recoil. And the AGS, to be honest with you, made everything a little bit top heavy. I've been having some focusing issues with this camera, so every now and again I'll just have to sort of reset the focus like that, as if by using the force. Yeah, so that combination's working really well now, and it's made the rifle really, really accurate. Now I put this, the old Walther scope, the Century of the previous video, the Century scope onto this, and took it up to Cosford Range, because I know that to be a known good scope on springers. And it scored really well, so out of 60, with not knowing trajectories on a duplex sight, was stuck at 6 magnification. It scored 37 out of 60, so that'd be 2 for the drop, 1 for the plate, and then a 0 for a miss. So I thought it performed rather well, to be honest, and I'd be interested to see what it does once I get really used to it. Moving on, you've got the trigger down there. That's the brass 2-stage adjustable one. I don't know if you can see that very well, but Airgun Shooter magazine, they featured this as an advertisement feature for the standard Remington Express, and I really recommend getting that for the standard Express. It will be copied, but stick with the original, because the people who copied it ain't put the work and the paint and the effort in there. Apart from that, silence is still working really, really well for a spring rifle, and I haven't seen that many that perform as well as that. Apart from that, the rifle is largely unchanged. So let's get on to the performance of it. Now, by pure chance, I moved my race car back the other day, and I came across an old board that I'd used for grouping when I had this Express in the original form. So I did some rubbings of it so I could get, as you can see, so I could see where they all were, and I remembered exactly how I'd shot it, So this is ultimately the rubbings redistributed to the 3 sets of groupings that are around. So this was the initial 0, and this was shot in August. This was basically an out-the-box Express, how I found it, shooting day state sovereigns. So that was the first one, the 10 meters. 2-inch grouping with a little cross there where I was aiming. The question mark is, I think that was just a marker to sort of get it onto paper, but then I was chasing the zeros, and this was on a Hawk scope anyway, which didn't perform particularly well. And then same again, oh no, tell a lie, actually no, this was on the Walther scope, because I did find that there's a fly there, look. Gotcha. No, I haven't. I suck. Anyway, this was on the Walther scope actually, so a duplex scope, so a known good one. Because I was having trouble with the Hawk scope moving 0 all the time, and then once I got it 0 to sort of in the region of, I shot it. But as you can see, then the best I could achieve was a 1.5-inch group at 10 meters, and at 10 meters I expect to see a little bit better than that. I mean, yes, I know it's 150 quid rifle, but you know, you still expect something. And at 30 meters, this was what I was experiencing. So this is realistic. I mean, you know, okay, they're not proper targets, if you know what I mean, but they give you or remind me of how far this rifle has actually come, and that's a 5¼ inch group at 30 meters, which is pretty much one of the best I ever got, to be fair. Once I got the AR1 back, remember this target from the other week, so zeroed it on the Hawk scope at 17 meters. 30 meters was this one here, so this is a 1 inch group. Let's compare that to what I sent it off as. Massive improvement, I think. Yeah, you've got to agree there. Again, these were day state solves on this one, and then reset it down to 15 meters down here. These little dots here, these were just bag rested, just seeing if, you know, the carbine with the weight at the back just helped it settle, so I could fire it like I fire the Walther Sentry, but I've still got to fire artillery held with my left hand rested on the bag. So that was when I had a bad back out in the winds. Took it down the indoor range on target in Northampton. Nice place to go. Not paid commission, don't want it. But, you know, that's just where I go to do my zeroing, which is why all my targets are on target targets. So this is my first zero. My second zero, as you can see, it's quite wide and sporadic, and I'm thinking this has got to be the scope, and it was, as it turns out. And what happened was, where the bottom of the scope meets, it was actually touching. There was a slight twist on the scope, so I adjusted that, got that sorted out, used the force again to refocus. There we go. That's amazing, isn't it? Shot this one, so I've got a nice grouping here, and then a second grouping, so like a split grouping almost, but these are actually flyers. And then I got another run with 5 of them on day state sovs again. Try some H&Ns and don't like it. Now this is common with all the H&Ns, so if you just slowly go back through this video, you see wherever I've got a target with H&Ns, they're always up here somewhere. The Acupels did the same. Stubbier pellets just seem to do that with this rifle. But H&N is the base ammo for what Remington use. And I've been told that they love it, the H&Ns and the Remington ammo, these, you know, AR1, well, Expresses, but I'm not feeling that, to be honest with you. I'm really not. So I'm just going to quickly whiz through some of these targets, just mainly so you can see it. So I'll get a nice grouping, then I'll get a couple of flyers, get a nice grouping, couple of flyers, then a run of flyers, then some Webley Acupels. These are all stovs. I think these are Bisley mags. H&N's again up the top. That was just a crossfire. You know, this is on the Hawk scope, but you can see there you get a grouping and a flyer. So you can just quickly pause that now. This is on the Hawk again, and you get some groups, and then you start getting flyers, some groups and then flyers. So by now I'm pretty much on the page that I've got a real problem with this Hawk scope, and it's time to do something about it. And that's when I stuck the Walther scope on it and took it up to Cosford range in the field target arena. Took it out there. We know the story of that because I've already just told you it. And then went with the AGS scope. So I had to move around on my scopes, got everything back to where I wanted it, and then took it down to the indoor range on the 5th of February, this being the 12th of February. Now then, everything to the left of my finger is basically, if I just slide that underneath to give you a little bit of contrast. Well, I'm wasting time now, aren't I? You can see everything to the left of my finger is basically air arms at 25 yards on the AGS scope. The day state now, you need to clean your barrel through basically. There's a couple of flyers. Now these are attributed because I honestly believe these were down to you need to cycle a few pellets through to clear out the old lead and get some better lead down there, or consistent lead to the pellet. I did fire 3 in there and they were pretty tight. I could have fired another 2 that had gone exactly there, and the H&N's again high and wide. So H&N's I'm not going to be using in this AR1 at all. You may find different. Your barrel might like them, but mine certainly doesn't. I'll be sticking with the air arms, and then keep on trying with day state sovs and air arms and playing them off and working which one's the best. So ultimately this is a 25-yard range, which isn't too short of 30 meters, to be honest with you. And what I would say is this is ultimately what it's changed down to. So we've got what was ultimately 30 meters, we've gone down to, I think, is it what, 24 meters or 23 meters, so over an extra 8 meters. You know, you can tell that this, you know, the money spent on this rifle therefore is being worth it. You know, I'm certainly happy with it. Lynn's done a fantastic job with what was ultimately, I think you'll agree, a not very impressive rifle. I'm not saying that all Remington Expresses are like that, but mine certainly was. And I don't forget I had an XP before that, which was even worse. So yeah, you can kind of make your own minds up on it. My mind's made up. If I was to do, or anybody I knew wanted an Express, I'd send them straight Lynn's way first and say, look, you know, consider the AR1 and spend that bit extra money. Don't be blinded by the Vire Arcs and all the rest of it. This is, I think, just as good at the minute, but we'll see when it as things develop. But certainly an alternative to some of the German ones there. I hope you find this useful. As always, feel free to post and comment, don't troll. I'll answer any questions that come my way, but they'll only be honest into what I actually see with this particular rifle. So yeah, like I said, stay safe, shoot straight, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks, bye.